Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ron Spikes. Well, it's sit in your sit in your space. I've been working all the way up until I get here, until I got to this point. And when I got to this point, I had a dancing beard, and if I turned my head the wrong way, had an upgrade this weekend that kind of threw my stuff off. So I'm gonna have to get back to the norm somehow. It's like my if you see me out there, don't be it ain't your camera. It ain't your video or nothing like that. It's me. It's actually me. I'm trying to a lot of the stuff that I had going is not working right now because I did an upgrade this weekend and I don't know. I'm just gonna push through it. Push through it. That's all I can do this time. You know, sometimes when you try to do stuff the right way, when you right on time, they don't like you. It's like the what do they call it? I ain't even in the frame for Instagram. It's like my image is fading out. So I'm just gonna work with it, bear with whatever I got, and go with it because I'm here by myself. And today's a little bit different. A lot of people look at the show and they look at me and they say, "Oh man, he really got it going on. He did all of this stuff and he did that." They really don't know. It takes a lot behind the scenes because I worked on this update with I got three pieces of equipment that I had to update. Somehow between all three, my image shows me with one of these weird beards and all the rest of that. And that's part of what they call chroma keying. So I ain't gonna educate you on the whole thing. I'm gonna tell you just bear with me through this, and I'm gonna get through the subject matter, and we're gonna go somewhere. One of the things that really got me started on this and got me started today was I was looking. I had always text this couple named the Glovers. Her husband is named Danny Glover, and I always text them. They both are horse people. As a matter of fact, you heard me bragging on them talking about when they had their wedding and they did it on the back of horses. And people see those horses, and that's one thing I can say ever since I've been in this. People see horses on the day of the trail ride. People see horses on the day of the rodeo. People see horses on the street. But people never realize how much work goes into that. People don't never realize that Danny texted me this morning. He said, "Man, I'm out here cutting the back pasture." You know, his back pasture is probably like 10 times what my lawn is in my yard. And those people put in that work and they do it constantly. But everybody, it's almost like the title of the show. Everybody loves the harvest when they see them out riding those beautiful horses and everything. And then they go down to their house and maybe Danny or his wife get out there or JK get out there and they let you ride for a second. But that's the easy part. They had to go out there and saddle them horses up, make sure they was watered, make sure they was in good health, feed them all the rest of the time, and bring them out. And you was on a part of the harvest. And see, that's the problem with us. We like being part of the harvest, but we don't want to be a part of the planting. And the planting means that you go out of your way to do stuff a different way. You go out of your way to make sure that you get to the harvest. And it's a lot of work in between the planting and the harvest. And very few people show up for the harvest. And I'll take it another way so you can truly try to understand what I'm saying when I say this, because you'll see a young man or a young lady go out there and they could be a doctor, a lawyer, a basketball player, or whatever. And their parents didn't sacrifice everything that they got. They didn't put up everything. They didn't stayed up nights when this child had an earache, ear infections, and ran this child here and there and fro to different places. But here a person show up in the harvest and they want to nullify everything that's been happening. No. You have to realize that there was some seeds planted. Those parents made some sacrifices in their life for that young man or young lady that you see where they're at, whether they're a doctor, lawyer, or they're a basketball player, football player, whatever they are, a volleyball player, what's great swimmer or whatever. You're there doing the harvest. And you think that the seeding don't count. No. That's not the way it works. See, because even normal parents, when they have kids, they're up late nights. They were the ones that was changing those diapers. They was the ones that was feeding those kids. Now you want to show up during the harvest. And let me so I can make sure everybody understand me, because I don't want to leave nobody out in this explanation of showing up during the harvest, but few was there during the seed planting. See, sometimes you hear Black people get on the radio on the radio and media and stuff like that. You hear young Black men talk about, well, my mother was there. Well, you're starting to see some others come out there and say, well, my mother was there for me. See, that's the planting. And see, some of the times, I'm going to just call it out. Some of the times we as men, some fathers, are not there doing the planting, but they show up after the harvest. They show up when the trophies come. They show up when the draft is there. They show up when the young man can take care of himself, or young lady. And see, that's a problem. The harvest, anybody can do. The harvest, anybody can participate. It's the planting. It's the planting that nobody wants to participate in. And I always like to put it in my perspective, because this is just real talk for Black people. You can sit in your space and listen, because the harvest is easy. I'm going to say it again. The harvest is easy. You heard me say it so many times. It's the planting that's hard. It's the planting that's hard. That mother that I'm talking about, she had to go to work the next day. She's the one picking up that child from daycare. She's the one making the sacrifice. She's the one putting in the time. And the only thing that you're giving up is your money. So you're out there celebrating your harvest while that mother is struggling planting seeds. Then you want to criticize that mother for what she did, but you wasn't there during the planting of seeds. You want to offer up, let me tell you what's good. You want to offer up excuses why you wasn't there. You want to say, oh, I had this job, I was doing this, I was doing that, I was running over yonder, I had this. But you didn't think during all that time that you was running that you could spend a few hours with your child to take some of that pressure off? I know everybody ain't gonna like this, because you have these alpha males running around talking about I'm this, I'm that, and they beating their chest, but they got 10 baby mamas out there, and they think the only thing they have to do is drop off a check. I ain't gonna even take it that far. You can have one dad that's out there running around talking about how good a father he is, and the only thing he's doing is dropping off a check, picking up every 2 weeks. So you can enjoy the harvest. The harvest is easy. When a child then went through school, they got to a point where they can take care of themselves, and you see them about to become something, now you want to come in doing the harvest. Not be there doing the planting. This message has sit on my heart for a while. Some truths grow louder when life gets quiet. Today is a truth, and it's simply undeniable. Everyone enjoys the harvest. Few are there for the planting. And that's what this is about. I'm going to just tell you, you saw the title. You know what it's about. You know what the reason why I'm here. And as I look over to check my screen, because I want to make sure that I'm not disappearing in too many spots on this screen, because I got to get it taken care of by tomorrow. Everyone celebrates the harvest. People admire fruit on the trees. They applaud success. They come running up there. Ooh, man, I'm glad that you did that. But the person that probably did it sitting there, not saying a word, just being quiet, saying in their mind, I know this MF didn't do this. I'm just saying. Because that's exactly what I would be saying. And here's the other part. It's two parts to that. I'm glad I brought that. I'm glad that it crossed my mind, because here's the other part I want to tell you about. You got stepfathers and stepmothers that step in when the other person steps out. And they're doing the planting. But you want to come in doing the harvest and get benefits. See, the harvest person doesn't have to tell that person no. The harvest person never had to deal with, I'm out here, I'm out here, I'm doing this, and dealing with the back talk and all the rest of that. See, that's part of the planning. I noticed that too. They know they want the recognition, but few participate in the planning. The planning is where the faith lives. It's where work is unseen, the work that goes behind the scene, the work that stands up, the work that gets up every day, cooking a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, the going to work, meeting the needs, and still coming home, picking up that young person that can't do for themselves. Then they call you every once in a while, maybe when they get in a tight, and the first thing you say is, well, I can't do it. You should have told me early. Well, you was part of the plan. I'm gonna say it again. You were part of the plan. I got people that text me in the background when I'm on this air, so I have to check, because sometimes I say something that resonates with them too. So you were part of the plan, but you don't want to be a part of the harvest. No, and I want you to understand what I just got through saying. Somebody gonna get there in a little bit. It's where you work unseen. That's the plan. It's where the sacrifice feels lonely. That's the plan. It's where the effort has been silenced. Because the harvest person wants to show what all they put into the picture. The harvest person is them coaches out there. They don't know where that young man came from, or that young woman came from, or what they went through just to get there. The sacrifices that parents, if I say parents, I mean parents, made to get them to that point. You are the coach. You want to be part of the harvest. And tell them parents to go kick them to the curb. Well, that's not the way life works. It's like JK now. I just got through talking about JK and Danny. Yeah, they chose to live where they live. They enjoy horses. They got pastures. They got probably other animals that they got to feed during the day. I think I remember JK talking about that. But that's where they chose. But when you get there, you stay there for a couple of hours, and then all of a sudden hey, let me get a couple of them eggs. Hey, can I get a couple of them watermelons? Can I get a couple of can I get a couple of them greens that you done grew? See, that's part of the planting phase. And few people are there for that. No, it's almost like let me break it down to some of y'all, because some of y'all understand it this way. When you go to the club and you show up and you got your money in your pocket, and your buddy show up and he ain't got nothing. You order a drink and he just sitting there looking at you, or a female, and they just sit looking at you. So you feel sorry for him. So you pull out your little bit of change and you go ahead and help them out. See, you planted your seed. They came there to be a part of your harvest. That person came there to be a part of your harvest. They didn't have it when they got there, but they knew that you was going to have it. So that was planting your seed. I just want to say this. A seed starts its life hidden beneath the soil, quiet, buried beneath the soil. No one congratulates the seed. No one celebrates the roots, but the roots make fruits possible. And the roots grow in darkness. They continue to grow. They don't just grow in the light in the daylight. They grow in the darkness. They need to be watered. They need to be nurtured. They need to go. Somebody need to go out there and make sure that if they get too much sun, to put something over the top of them to keep them growing. No different than in life, No different than in life. Somebody had to take those kids to a court. Somebody had to take those kids to a recital or something, a debate or something. Somebody had to put them through college. Those scholarships don't cover everything. But then you want to come along afterward and grab them up. And while you grabbing them up, guess what? That sacrifice ain't go unnoticed. And then you wonder how come they get up there and the first thing they say is, I want to thank my mom. I want to thank God first. And then I want to thank my mom and dad. That's the reason why. Because they know the people who actually sacrifice the most. So you taught them how to run, jump, and leap. But the parents taught them how to eat, get cleaned up, clean up their room, bought them games, spend Christmas times with them, spend all those holidays with them during the year, and all the rest of that. And when you let them go, because your school is over and you're going home on vacation for the holidays, they're going back to that. That's part of that seed plan. See, because you can let go. You're in the harvest. People just think that you just think that some celebrities sincerely, let me just say this. I want to make sure it comes out right because I'm using the wrong word. Some celebrate sincerely with you. Don't get me wrong. Some people come along with you. Some people willing to make a sacrifice. Some people you can pick up the telephone and call them and say, hey, look, I got this I want to do. Can I just leave? Can I leave my kid here? Can I entrust you with something so I can go do something else that probably that I need to do by myself to help them? Others only arrive when the success comes. Nothing wrong with welcoming people into it. Just remember who stayed early and went home late. Just remember who woke up and sacrificed and probably called in a couple of times, say, I can't make it at work. And that's where their bills come from. I can't make it because I'm sick, but they went to do something for that person to succeed. Remember who believed in them when nobody was around. When they was 9 to 10, when they was 7 to 8, and they was going to those little league things, and they barely knew which end of the field they was going to. They might have took off running the other direction if that person wouldn't have told them to go back the other way. And everybody was laughing, but that person was on point telling them to go back the other way. See, that's the evidence. Remember who encouraged your seed. Because sometime along the way, it is people that encourage them. Some people take out time to help you. Some people spend time with them, like mothers, fathers, grandfathers, uncles, aunties. They count too. They part of that plan. Martin Luther King, now I'm going to go here. Martin Luther King was criticized early, watched and pressured, misunderstood. They quote him now widely. They quote him everywhere. They know his words. But they question when it cost. They questioned during the planning. Everything that he was doing, they questioned it. Now I'm telling you, I'm answering, I'm looking at my phone because I don't know who's texting me in the background because I can't get comments on the screen sometimes. But see, sometimes it's only one person out there actually putting in the work. And Dr. Martin Luther King had a vision that he was putting in, but not everybody was on board. Even his own people, even his own church people, even his own church members were not on board with him at first. But look at them now. They all swear that they was right there. They can tell you on the day that he got shot, I was right there. But not all of them were. Not all of them were. Muhammad Ali stood on his convictions. He lost his title, lost a career, lost favor with the people, went to jail. Went to jail because of what he believed in. He didn't want to go to war. He didn't see no reason to go to war, fight for a country that wasn't fighting for him. He didn't see a reason to go to war when those people, he said those people didn't do anything to him. Before he died, they honored him. They say he was courageous. They gave him all that. They personified him. People loved his legacy, but not the sacrifice. Harriet Tubman kept returning back. Freedom required faith over proof. Not everyone followed the path. Not everyone. Not everyone. The Montgomery Bus Boycott began uncertain. People walked miles daily. No guarantee change would come. Many joined after the momentum. Early participation required sacrifice. Late participation required agreement. Silence is loud in the beginnings. Support grows loud in the end. I'm not going to be here too long today. I just want to get out here and I just want to touch some bases and make some points and let you know. The heart of it, visibility creates supporters. Vision requires true believers. That means that you don't see the end vision. You haven't seen the harvest, but you still investing. Crowds gather around confirmation. Few stand beside uncertainty. Some didn't even miss your potential. I know you say, well, what good is that? It's like a father that knew he was 6, 7, and he saw you growing up, and he saw what you was doing, but he chose not to participate. A mother, same way, chose not to participate. They didn't miss your potential. They knew it was going to come, but they didn't want to participate in the plan. They just didn't want to invest in the early. They didn't want to invest early. That was too much of their time. They had this to do. They was popping fans. They was going out drinking and doing all the rest. They was hanging out with their buddies, going different places, traveling around the world. But they didn't have time to make an investment. But they show up during the harvest. Late support borrows crowd confidence. You know, the people that's sitting in the stands or the people that's sitting around you. The mothers and fathers says, "Oh man, your son and daughter's a lawyer. Look at them now. Look at what they're doing." But they don't remember when you was telling that little nappy-head sucker to go in there and brush his teeth, wash his face, pick up a book, get off that TV, threaten to throw out all his clothes and his games and all the rest of that. They don't remember that part because it wasn't there. Planting season exposes motives. A lot of people see your child after they enter the harvest, and they got motives. They want to join in. It reveals loyalty. You know, not everybody wants to be there. You know, and loyalty comes when the planting of the seeds are going in place. Loyalty comes when that child is hurt or something doing that activity or something that they're doing, and then they have to come back home to that place where it was planted. It reveals alignment deeply. It reveals who truly is with you. Let me just say this because I had this in the back of my mind this morning, and I'm gonna talk to some adults here. I'm gonna talk to some adults. I'm gonna say it like this: some love fruits, not roots. Because it wasn't there doing the planting. I'm gonna explain that to you. If you got any little kids listening to you right now, tell them to step out for a minute. Because this is what I'm gonna tell grown folks. You know, when the harvest comes around and they see what your child did or they see what's been accomplished, they want to swing something at them. They want to bat 100. I mean, bat as in other terms. Or they want to squeeze. They got certain muscles that they work on that they tighten up, and they get your son and they tighten up on him. Oh, they trying to make him forget about his roots because they don't want him to remember that he got there. That he got there through his mother and father. And see, you have to watch people at some certain point in your time and in your life because they'll come in and they'll be on they'll be on your side talking about the father. They don't know him. They'll be on his side talking about you. They don't know you. And the real reason why I say that is because those are the people that come into your life. They have something to gain by what you have put into your child or life. House, bigger cars, great cars, dress great, do everything that you did to plant the seeds to get where you at. But they want it. They don't want to sacrifice for it. It's almost like this podcast. Everybody wants to see a successful podcast and they want to join in. But when you plant the seed, nobody wants to be there. Few show up for the planting process, but many show up later. Hey, how you doing? I remember when I used to listen to you. How long was that? A week ago? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. But you understand the process in which people will come in during the harvest time that they never could have made it during the planting time. See, planting is hard. Planting is sweating. Planting is sweating. Planting means that you can sweat. You can put it to sweat equity, as they call it. Planting means that I was a mama when the question was asked, where's the daddy? Or I was a daddy when the question was asked, where was the mama? Remember that harvest I told you about? It's a difference between harvest and planting. Sometimes I want you to think about this seed because sometimes God hides you intentionally for seasons. And in that season, he's building strength in you. It's buried seasons build character. Quiet seasons build endurance. Because see, when I say that quiet seasons build endurance, let me explain that because you put in your work, those that did, while that child was up and about. When you got time to rest, that's where your endurance was built at. When you got time to rest, that's where your endurance was. Your endurance, I'm sorry. Your endurance, not nobody else's. And see, the real reason why I say sometimes God hides you intentionally, because he know if he exposes that seed too early or allow that seed to sprout out of the ground too early, you was going to get into the harvest stage. Harvest. You see, all stages of growth is not ready for the harvest. I'm going to say that again. All stages of growth are not ready for the harvest. What if they came in too early before you had finished your job of doing what you wanted to do, and they came in and then your child only sees the harvest because now somebody comes in and they're part of the harvest and they're able to do a little bit more for your child than what you were able to do, and your child forgets about that planted seed. See, I'm going somewhere with this. Somebody's going to figure it out eventually because that person comes in too early in the harvest, and now they're taking credit for all that you did, but they forget there was a mama and daddy back there. They forget that it was a mama and daddy, and they say, "Oh, I got there early. I got there early." No, I've been knowing that child. No, you know that child, but I've been knowing them since day one. I've been changing diapers. I've been going to the store buying milk. I've been going to the store working. I've been going to the store providing for that child. But see, you got there too early in the harvest, so you want to take credit for some stuff that you didn't even do. Somebody gonna get there. Somebody gonna get there. You know, I'm gonna go here. I'm moving kind of fast today because I need to get. This is a lot of information I'm trying to put out. If you are planning right now, feeling slow, quiet, unseen, you're not behind the day. You're not forgotten here. You're not failing. You're being rooted so deep, and the roots are taking real time. They're running so deep in the ground that they can't move you. Out of all the harvests that I got through telling you about, and all the people that's going to show up in the harvest, when your roots run deep, they can't move you. And God sets you up for your roots to run deep, where it's nothing that nobody can come in that child's life. You know, I have to do an example because it's almost like you can see a child grow from 3 or 4 feet, where a mother could walk up there and slap that child across their head, and it doesn't, that child will cry or whatever to get them in line, so the police don't have to get them in line. But see, let me tell you something about a child. A child can grow up to be 6'7", 6'6", whatever you want him to be. But if a root runs deep, that child more afraid of you coming up there slapping him across his head than he is about his height or anything. That's why a mother that stands 5'2" can tell a 6'5" child, "I'll come up there and see," because that root is deep. And that child knows that person really doesn't want to do that because they love them so much, but that child has messed up so bad that that's what they're resorting to try to correct the action. I'm gonna have to let that sink in a minute because see, most people don't understand that when a mother or a father comes up to a child and say, "It ain't about bringing you in this earth. It's about the root that I planted to help you get where you're going, the sacrifices that I made to help you get to the point where you at." You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be a football player. You don't even you could be a grocery sacker at the end of the line in Kroger's for right now. That's not your complete destiny. But I made sacrifices even for you to get there. So you need to understand when that mother, that father say something like that, they ain't trying to hurt that child. And that child, trust me, that child not even afraid of the lick. But what that child is saying, "I respect you enough that I don't want to be put in that position. I remember what you did for me to get here." See, I see these children on the internet talking all the time. I see them talking back and forth to their parents and going through all this cutting up and all the rest of that. But you know what? I heard Shaquille O'Neal say this. "I don't care what was said in my house." And I'm going to extend this a little bit further so you can understand. His stepfather raised him. His stepfather was a military guy. He called him Sarge, I think. He said, "Whatever Sarge said is what I did." His mama was part of that bringing up, that guidance, that planting. But that stepfather was part of that seed, that planting too. He said he didn't care. He didn't care who he was or how big he had got. He still respected that man because those roots ran deep. And let me do a Byron Glass moment, because I want to tell you something that Byron would come out and tell me right now. Byron would tell me, "Hey, Ron, are you saying that the only way that a family can be strong is if there's a husband and wife and same blood and everything?" No, I'm not saying that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that your root is planted deep. Doesn't matter who the people are. Just know who was there during the hard times and who was there to help you get there. Put in the work, so to speak, as you young people say. The people that put in the work deserve a voice too. Let me share something with you. If God trusted you with the seed, He already planned for your harvest. Mm. I know some people don't get this. If God trusted you with the seed, it takes a village to raise a child. He's already planned for the harvest. See, what a child is today, as I mentioned at the end of that line sacking groceries, is not where he's going to finish. See, not everybody goes on to be basketball players. Not everybody goes on to be lawyers. Not everybody goes on to be what we call successful people in life. What they get titles for, are broadcasters, anything else that you can think that some people just go on to be engineers. Some people just go on to be good workers. Some people just go on to retire from a job that they worked for years. They ain't any less than anybody else that's out there. They're not any less. I went out there and you go to work. I went out there just like anybody else. I went to work. And if that didn't work, I moved on. If that didn't work, I moved on. I finally found something that drew my interest enough for me to stay long enough to get a retirement. I'm just putting it out there, you know. It ain't about what title's in front of your name by the time it's over with. It's about what you did with what you had at the time. And being a father and a mother is the same thing. Everybody wants to come to the harvest. Everybody wants to be a part of the harvest. No one wants to be part of the planting. Remember this, when your harvest finally comes, people will come. People will come. They will come, they will come, they will come. If you ever come into any amount of money, they will come. They will stay with you. Scrub your floors. Watch your kids do everything that they can just so they're a part of your harvest. But as soon as that money disappears, you know what happens to them? They leave too. They're not a part of your harvest. You know, think about it. And the only reason why I'm using celebrities is because you see it all the time. You see these celebrities or these athletes that travel with these large group of peoples all the time. Some of them are childhood friends. Some of them are people that they met along the way that they thought they had more money than them and everything else. And when that person loses what got them there, they by themselves. When that person loses or injured or can't come back from where they was, you know where they go back to? Lord, if the Lord granted them that time, that child, that parent, that time where they had a place to come back to, they come back to that planting. And they may not never get to the status that they got to before. But if they ever rose up from where they was and they came back into that environment, they change. They change. They change. They need fewer friends and they making more frequent visits back to their planting or their planting than anything else because they learn. See, everybody is not smart enough to learn. they get they learn how to celebrate different. They get a new visibility, both the human responses. Because when I was up, you were there. But when I went down, I was there by myself, and maybe the people that planted that seed. The only thing I'm saying is don't forget this. Who stood beside the emptiness that was there? Who believed without the evidence? Who encouraged your seed or anything that you plan on doing early? Who was there? Who encouraged you to keep on moving, even when you wanted to quit, even when you wanted to stop? I tell you, and I got to share this story because I remember a situation. I can't call. I'm trying not to describe the situation, but I remember a parent telling a child that wanted to quit school when we were. I can't even say that part. But anyway, I remember a parent telling a child who wanted to quit school that was going to be an engineer, and they told them they was going to quit school and become a full-time DJ because they're making so much money and all the rest of this. I think they was on like the second or third year or something like that in college, and their parents was making the sacrifice for them to go to school. I heard this loud and clear. I was close enough to hear this for myself. Damn it, you can quit whatever you want to quit. But let me tell you something. If you're going to quit it, you pay me back every damn dime that I put in it. I mean, every penny of it. And the way that person said it, it's like it came from the bottom of their feet all the way out of their voice. That's just how upset they was with this particular person. So when you hear something like that, or you see something like that, you know, it tells you about the planting of that seed. And that planting of that seed probably brought all those emotions out, the sacrifice and the things that they had did to get them to that point. And that's what came up. That's why I say history remembers the harvest, but the harvest was never guaranteed. Somebody had to push them in a direction like this person did. When they wanted to quit, somebody had to stand up and say, "Oh no, not after what all I done put into this. No, you ain't gonna quit. You're not a quitter. You gonna follow this through." There were moments of doubt in everything. I'm sure there was moments when taking a test to become a school teacher got hard. When there was moments where you didn't feel like you could do it. You may have had a bad paper or something that you turned in, but you still had to pursue it to get where you're going. Moments of silence, moments that you was just in a hamster running around the wheel. You didn't have no proof of where you was going, what you was trying to achieve, but you still had to do it. You know, as I told you about people texting me in the background. I told you about people texting me in the background. That was one of the people I just got through talking about. He got up and cut a whole pasture this morning, a big pasture. Told you probably about 10 sides of the field that I'm working on. And you know, as I look at this, he's still texting me in the background. I'm surprised he still got energy. But he's still texting me in the background, telling me some stuff. But as I look at this, I just want to say this. I want to say this without a doubt. Imagine you went out there and cut all this field this morning, and you still got energy to follow a show like this. I'll be laid out on the floor in the fan, in the air condition, chilling. I see my glasses messing up and everything. So I got messed up eyes. I'm just going to apologize for it till I can get time to do it. And ain't nothing I can do. History reminds us of a harvest, but the harvest was never guaranteed. There were moments of doubt, moments of silence. And I'm going to tell you, Moments of no proof. I'm going to say that again. I want to make sure I get this out. Some stayed during the uncertainty. Some waited for the confirmation so they could participate. Parents, daddies, moms, other relatives that didn't want, that wasn't coming out to those games, wouldn't participate, wasn't coming out to those recitals or nothing, but you gave them an invitation and told them to come to get in there. You know, some of them don't get it until it's too late. But they celebrate the harvest fully with you. But never confuse the late arrivals with the few that endure. Never. Everyone loves the harvest. Few stay for the planting. And I told you, I'm not going to be out here today that long. And I mean that. I'm not going to be out here today too long because I think I made my point, you know. Everyone loves the harvest. Few are there for the seed, planting the seed. And here's what I want to tell you. The planting season is not punishment. It's preparation. It's shaping you quietly. It's strengthening, it's giving you your strength. Remember those deep roots I was telling you about? It's making those roots run deeper. Have you ever seen somebody come there and cut down the tree? And they go to dig up the tree and they almost have to dig up the whole front yard, and then you have to get dirt to fill in that hole because the roots ran so deep. That's what it's doing. It's making you that planted in the ground. It's strengthening you deeply. And when your harvest comes, you'll know it. You'll know it. Exactly who stood with you. You'll know those people that stood with you. You will. And you'll know who to put in your circle and who to take out of your circle. You'll know exactly who you have become. Because believe it or not, you're the one that's at 5'2". I know most people ain't 5'2", but you're the one that at strength that can go up to a 6'5" guy, young man, and slap him across his head and tell him to come on, let's go. In a group of his friends, because your roots are so deep in that person, in that child, even a young lady. Come on, let's go. I don't care. Let's go. It's time to go. Because you implanted that root so deep. They know that the sacrifices that you made was greater than anybody that was around them. And it even, let me put a caveat on this. Even if you think they don't understand it right now, give them a little while. Whatever they have problems with you, they're going to come back. And they're going to realize who was there. And they're going to say, you know what? I think some people put this curse on their kids. I really do. I think some people put this curse on their kids because their kids were so rowdy that they say, I hope that you have a child just like you someday. So you can understand what I've been through. You know what? This has been sitting in your space, growing your season. Your harvest is coming. Don't ever let nobody tell you your harvest ain't coming. Because if you plant it and you nurture it and you water it and you keep going, it's going to come. I think about this story that I don't know if it's in the Bible or if I read it, and I don't want to say that it's not. You know, when I think about it, I'm going to tell you my version. It was this person that walked along this path. They was going to their garden planting. They had seeds and water. They would walk along there with seeds and water. Just along the path, all the way to the garden. Put their seeds out, go back and get water. They're walking, so you know it's going to spill everywhere. It's going to spill everywhere, and they're going to get to their garden. They're going to pour that water out and measure and all of that. And that's the seeds that they're growing. Till one day, they going down that same path, and they looking to the left and right. The flowers along that path are probably prettier than the ones that they got in that garden over there. That's that planting. That's that planting. That's that taking that time. You wasn't paying attention to those what you was doing along the way. You wasn't paying attention to what you were teaching other people along the way, but you were planted, you were steadfast on that garden growing. You were steadfast. So that means that sometimes, even in the planting season, you're still growing along the path. You never know how many people paying attention to you. You never know how many people are cheering you on. You never know how many people want to be where you at. But you kept moving. You kept growing. With that being said, I just want to do this real quick because I think I'm going to get out of here on time today. I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God. I hope you enjoyed every minute of it, every minute of this show. And to Danny, I know you sweat, man. I seen the effort that you put in out there in that pasture. I know JK is saying thank you because I know sometimes she's out there in that same pasture with you, cutting that grass. So I just want to say thank you, Danny and JK, for listening in. Cheryl, you know I'm always a big fan. Anybody else that's out there listening in, I just want to tell you thank you. I just try to share information and sit in your space. This is called Just Real Talk for Black people. And you can sit in your space and let me get out of the way. Let me see your mom. Let me get out of the way. Sit in your space and listen to me. It don't cost you nothing. Now, I already said it. Now I'm gonna say it one more time because I want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying when I say it. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. I'll see y'all. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your time, whatever you may have going. And please excuse the look like my mustache growing right in front of your eyes. Look like my glasses have a, I don't know. But anyway, just know I get it corrected. Thank you. Bye-bye.